Imagine a world where algae can fuel planes and cars, feed livestock, and fight climate change. Seems impossible, right? Wrong.
To most people, algae is the gunk they see at ponds. But what they don't realize is that algae absorbs harmful carbon dioxide and survives in saltwater and wastewater, saving freshwater resources for human needs. Not only that, but algae grows quickly and needs little fertilizer and requires no pesticides.
Microscopic algae can be made into biofuels, which is a source of alternative energy. Because it is carbon neutral, it adds little additional carbon to the atmosphere. During photosynthesis, algae turns the carbon dioxide into fuel.
In fact, algae can produce from 2,000 to as many as 5,000 gallons of biofuels per acre per year. According to the International Energy Agency, by 2050, biofuels could provide 27% of the world's transportation fuel. Algae will be at the forefront of this.
It's hard to believe, but currently, algae-based jet fuels for planes are being developed that shows promises of greater range, reduced emissions, and lower maintenance costs than conventional fuels. That's significant because jet fuel remains a huge source of carbon pollution.
Soon, algae could be cheap enough to compete with fossil fuels. In fact, companies such as Boeing are currently working with Japanese airlines and the government to provide algae-fueled flights to the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo.
Can you even believe that sustainable shoes have been made out of algae? Companies Viva Barefoot and Bloom will soon release Ultra 3, the sustainable shoe made of algae. This was an effort to decrease the amount of algae that can become harmful to ecosystems when in excess.
In Hamburg, Germany, the first algae-powered building was recently opened. The design firm Arup states that the BIQ house is designed so that algae is in the bioreactor, is facing the sun, and grows faster, and therefore providing internal shading. The bioreactors can also produce biomass that can be harvested and captured as solar heat. They both can be used as energy sources to power the building. The photosynthetic properties of algae can be a driving force for a new renewable energy source.
Besides these far-reaching prospects of the future of algae is currently a huge part of our world. Algae can be found in food additives like seaweed and in nutritional supplements like omega-3 capsules. Even in your cosmetics, algae can be in your makeup products. And what we did? Fertilizers.
For the Land and Water Challenge, we used excess algae that were creating harmful algal blooms in the waters around Long Island. Although algae is a vital part of many ecosystems, too much algae can have downfalls. When too much algae is present in a lake or pond, it greatly increases the amount of competition among all the species for resources like sunlight. Algae sits at the surface of water, and when there is too much, it blocks the sunlight for other organisms deeper into the water.
We took this harmful algae in the ponds and combined it with other nitrogen and carbon-rich materials. Then we let it compose, and by 2 weeks, we had created our very own algae fertilizer. Conventional fertilizers often contain materials that are very damaging to the environment, and with runoff from rain, it can harm many plants and animals. Therefore, by taking excess algae out of the ponds and then creating all organic fertilizer, we solved two problems addressing both land and water. We went around our community selling fertilizer and we raised over $100. We then donated it to the Stony Brook University to help their research on algae.
For the final challenge, we built an algae bioreactor using recycled water bottles we had collected from a district-wide drive. This bioreactor allows us to grow algae for usage, as currently it is too cold for algae to live. This algae will be used to generate our own biomass and ethanol for biofuel use. We produce around 570 grams of algae biomass. This biomass may be able to power our school and more.
We did not feel it was enough to have our ideas stay on Long Island, so we spread our ideas across continents. From Mexico to India to China, we spread our passion of the future of algae to the next generation and local businesses. In India, I went to Rangoli International School, which is in my grandma's village. There I presented about our work and what algae holds for the future. Although many of the scientific concepts were too complex for the children to understand, I hope to inspire them to make a change in the world like we did with algae. In Mexico, I went to the Cancun Interactive Aquarium, which promoted the idea of conserving our waters for marine animals. I talked to the manager of the aquarium and described all of our ideas about algae. They found it very interesting and said they would love to incorporate our ideas into their aquarium since algae is a huge problem for animals in the ocean.
Similarly, I went to China and presented the idea of our mission and also the potential use of algae to create energy to classrooms of my old school district. Growing up in Beijing, China, I experienced pollution firsthand. China has the biggest population density of all over the world, and there has been increasing demand for cleaner and more sustainable energy sources. We feel like our mission and our solution presents a viable way for us to create more sustainable energy production, and therefore the people at the audience of my presentation were very impressed with our mission.
Algae will one day fuel the world.